What's going on, guys? It's Duran here from Sunrise Gaming, coming at you today with a different video and the first of a series that will follow every week on Fridays. This video is more or less a podcast. There's not going to be anything in the background except for maybe a picture of Torbjorn. This is something, you just turn us on, put us in the background. We're going to be discussing Overwatch, just things that have happened this past week, the future, and other things that we like to ramble on about that have to do with the game. Today I'm joined by Lax. Lax is a good friend of mine and a excellent Overwatch gold player. So he's got some insight into this. So the series is going to be called Overwatch Overtime. It's the end of the week, end of the match, before we go into the weekend. So Lax, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Now, you need to add in, I'm a gold player with platinum aspirations.
Platinum
Just
aspirations.
throwing that out there.
Join the big boys, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, gold player with platinum aspirations. What did you think of this season?
I thought it was good. I liked it because you got to see like some different comps and you got to see different play styles. And I mean, obviously, I ended up in gold. I'd like to go further, but mainly that's due to not having a lot of time to play near the end for school and such. But I think it was a good season overall. We got to see a lot of new things other than just triple tank. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot of probably the most common in our leagues was the 2-2-2, two tanks, two healers, two DPS. But there were some games where we had a solid dive comp going.
Mm-hmm.
And the enemy team was trying to counter with triple tank, and it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I'd have to say this season was probably, this might have been the golden season, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it was a lot better in terms of comps and play styles and stuff, especially with randoms.
Right. We saw a bunch of different comps. People were trying out different things. There's a meta at the pro level and the Grandmaster top 500, but down in the scummy parts of the regions like where we're at, anything goes. So I have a feeling that this will probably be the only season, and in future podcasts, and we're talking about future seasons and whatnot. We'll probably always reflect back onto season 4.
Yep, definitely.
So let's keep going with the end of season 4 here. What do you think is going to change after this locks up and competitive can't be used for a week?
Actually, shorter than that. It's only going to be a couple days.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, there was a recent announcement. I think it was Kaplan that said it. The official date for the end is May 28th, I think. And then it's coming back, for the season, and then competitive is coming back on May 31st. So we're only going to have a couple days off, which I think is good because you don't want to be in that no man's land of not having competitive and just forced to do other stuff. But I think I'm not sure what's going to happen next because this season kind of brought open a lot of different play styles and comps and people trying new things and stuff. So I don't know what this next season is going to bring. I think you're going to see a lot more riskier type comps. A lot more. I'm going to try to take this guy 1v1, and then that's going to swing the fight. I don't know. It's obviously going to depend on what major changes they take, but I don't know. It's going to be an interesting season next season, I think.
I know a lot of people are asking for a buff to Reaper because of the way dive comp is, and McCree is supposed to get some changes too. I just feel like these things probably are farther down the pipeline than people believe,
Yeah, I think so too.
Now, I do know for next season we are getting new maps.
Yeah.
And I am extremely excited about that. We'll probably make a video about that over the weekend. But for now, just let you guys know we are very excited for the new maps that are going to be coming out. So...
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting, game type, I guess you could say. There's been a lot of speculations about what's going to be because they look like there'll be smaller maps. And he said, what, arena or something?
And a gladiator arena style.
Yeah, something like that. So it might be like a 1v1 or like a 2v2 type thing. It might be like
Well,
you walk. What do you think?
I was thinking it was going to be more like a 6v6 last man standing.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, whoever's got the last one person standing wins or something like that. I don't know. And you go
Uh,
like 7 rounds.
that's interesting. I didn't think about
See,
that.
I'm thinking like Roman gladiator style. Probably booby traps around the arena, you know.
Mhm.
Can't really hide anywhere, things like that.
That'd be cool. That'd
That would
definitely
be
be cool. And it
cool.
sounds like there'll be like some type of reward system for playing that because of the new voice lines that came out. Like Winston saying like, "Ooh, what I get," or something like that. So
Yeah, that maybe you get like a loot box or something for every win or you know,
yeah.
something like that or participation. Who knows?
hmm
You never know with what Blizzard's gonna do. Um, so what do you have for me?
Well, I got a few. Okay, so talking about the season ending, have you seen any changes in your style of play? Because we've seen overall changes in terms of the style of play. People, taking a little bit more risky comps. So have you seen anything different on how you play?
Like me personally,
Yeah, you personally.
I will tell you my rocket accuracy is much higher now from this
That's good.
season. I was shouting it out the other day. I had like 58, 60% accuracy with the
Yeah.
rockets. And I was like, hey, that's pretty good for a platinum player. So,
Yeah.
my accuracy has gone up. My tracking has gotten a little better.
That's
My
good.
game awareness has vastly improved.
hmm
I'm starting to be able to call out more shots and call things out and see things a little bit quicker now. Now that I know what I'm looking for, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I've gotten in the habit of like pressing tab during downtime in between big fights,
hmm
and seeing if the enemy's changing up comms and whatnot, instead of
Yeah.
just waiting to see like the surprise bastion or whatnot.
Yeah.
And my communication still needs work, but it's
I
getting
mean,
better.
everybody's does.
It's getting better. What about you?
I've definitely picked up tank roles more often, so I've seen that. And because of that, I think my game awareness has definitely increased, which I think is definitely good for somebody that's trying to climb out of like where I am, freaking gold. Um, but not salty. I've definitely seen an increase in aggression because I've noticed, especially at this rank, a lot of people either they don't know or they just prefer these certain characters and they'll take characters that maybe aren't the best in a certain type of team fight. So I've been trying to be a little bit more aggressive with my playstyle because I come under the impression that if you hit them first, they might not have the chance to hit you back. So if we can deliver a quick knockout, to like one of their supports or their DPS, then especially if you're defending, I think that's a key mistake a lot of people make. So I've been trying to be more aggressive, especially on like a Winston or on a Reinhardt that I'll play. Um, Other than that, I mean, unfortunately, you don't get much training with your mechanics when you play Winston and Ryan.
No.
So I don't think. I mean, my fire strike accuracy, I think, has increased quite a bit. But in terms of that, I mean, I just hit up quick play and I'll pick soldier or something to practice that. But in terms of that, I don't know if there's been an increase. But definitely my game awareness and I'm trying to pick up more shot calling. It's hard as a tank because you got to focus on a lot of things at once. That's more of a support role, but you can definitely shot call as a tank. So I've been trying to pick that up a little bit because I think that's a good key to to help climb out of certain ranks. So I
Yeah.
think those are the main major changes in my play style.
Gotcha. I'm going about what you said with characters, or not characters, like people picking up certain characters that aren't ideal for certain fights and stuff. What do you think about the toxicity in the community these days after Season 4 Roundup?
I don't know. Honestly, I just don't pay attention to toxicity that much. At least I try not to. And it works better when we're in a group because if I say something stupid, you call it out. If you say something stupid, I call it out. And so it works better when you're in a group, I think. And that way you can just bitch to your friends about it rather than bitching to the randoms on the internet. But toxicity, I think, has kind of been a constant, and you're only going to get to be a constant because at the low, I mean, obviously, if you're at like 100 SR, people just don't know what they're doing. But when you're in silver, or gold, or in platinum, people are skilled, but they're not the most skilled, so they're kind of annoyed if somebody calls them out on that. And then at the higher ranks, they think they've gotten there because they're so good. And so if you call them on that, it's like, why are you challenging my authority? And it's like, it's just, it's a problem. It's not the biggest problem, but it's a problem. It's a problem that shouldn't be, because we're all playing a game. We're all random people from the internet. There shouldn't be this toxicity problem, but unfortunately there is. It's going to be a constant. I don't see it changing that much. I've noticed it's gotten a little bit better recently. Maybe that's just because people are kind of giving up on their rank now. I don't know. But I mean, like we've said, we've made videos about this before, and like we said, just don't feed toxicity with toxicity. That's the main thing.
Yeah. So you didn't say toxicity. Toxicity was the biggest problem. In your opinion, what is the biggest problem with the game?
People don't understand the what each different, not map, but like what's it called? What am I thinking of here? The different game modes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, payload versus hybrid versus 2CP versus King of the Hill. People not understanding what you not have to, but what you should be looking for in terms of defense or offense. And this comes down to people playing competitive as casual. Like, I get my competitive streak, I get a little competition in my life. That's great, but I'm not going to take this too seriously. Well, unfortunately, people like us, we don't take it seriously as like we're trying out for pro teams, but we enjoy the game. We want to play it at the highest level. So
Right.
for us, guys that know the game well, know how to attack a point, know how to defend a point, know how to push a payload, know how to counter initiate, all these kind of smaller things that more casual players don't understand. I think that's the biggest problem. And that's not, I don't think there's like malicious intent behind that. People are like trolling. I think the trolls are actually kind of a minority. Um, but I think the biggest problem is people just not understanding the game, like the finer details of the game, and that just comes down to people playing casual, which is not a bad thing. It's just kind of a problem for people like us, I guess you could say. Somebody picks a Roadhog saying, "Oh, well, we got a tank now." Well, he's not really a tank. Somebody picks Symmetra. "Oh, we got a support character now." Well, she's support and she does support the team, but you kind of need something else.
Mm-hmm.
People picking Torb on attack. Well, he's good and he can play really well, but you might not want him on attack. So all these different like finer details of the game, I think, are the biggest problem. And like I said, there's no malicious intent behind it, but it's definitely an issue.
It's just people who play competitive but aren't competitive people.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, see that's the thing, and we actually had this problem. What was it, 2 nights ago on the stream? We had so many teams where it was Lax and I talking, and then maybe one
Oh,
other person was,
yeah,
and the other members of our team were like either team chat, typing, or just not saying anything at all, doing whatever they want,
yeah.
and you could clearly tell the other team was in full communication with each other.
I mean, use voice chat. Like, it's a great, like, not many games will bring in an automated voice chat system like Blizzard has, and honestly, it's one of the best out there, I think. So use it. Like, if you have a crappy mic, that's fine. I can deal with that. If you don't have a mic, okay, maybe you shouldn't play competitive. It's just you're at a disadvantage if you don't communicate. Like, that's bronze and maybe silver level stuff. Like, you should be communicating. I don't know. That really, yeah, you're right. That really makes me
That
mad.
irks me. God, that gets under my skin when
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
know.
now this is for those of you listening. We will say this: the last week when we were playing competitive, we did have a kid who did not have a mic. However, whenever we would communicate with him, he would communicate through the wheel. He'd be like,
Yeah,
"Understood," or like, "Okay, thank you." You know,
yeah. He'd call out his ult percentages when we asked him and stuff.
constantly.
So
Like he would like
yeah,
as soon as you say like I think he was Zarya. As soon as
yeah,
you'd say Zarya ult, he would have it. It would be there in the chat right away. That's
hmm
fine. That's
yeah.
okay.
We can deal with that. It's not ideal, but we can deal with that. Like that works.
Yes. Like that's why I want to make my point is that if you don't have a mic, you need to be listening to your team, and if they tell you something, you need to, consider it and then like either accept it, and like, okay, this is what they want to do. I should try to support them because they're having instant communication and you're delayed.
Yeah,
So,
it's
you know,
oh man, that really pisses me off, and especially and then when you do have communication, poor communication, like if you're gonna sit there and bitch about the game and bitch about who you're playing against, like that does nothing. That doesn't do anything for us. You know, if they have a bastion, be like, okay, they have a bastion, maybe we should pick up a far. Okay, that's good communication. Like, all right, this comp isn't working. Let's change it up. Good communication. You guys suck. Torb, you suck. Switch. That doesn't do anything. Like that doesn't do anything. There's no reason to be like that.
and if you're having a problem, example, you're playing Vara, and the enemy team's hit scan, let's say it's a McCree, and he's just a really good hit scan player, and he's just picking you off left and right. Just own up to it and say he's better than me. I can't play Vara against him.
Yeah.
Just switch. It's
Yeah.
okay. Tell your team either shut down the McCree or I gotta switch. Because you're not. You gotta remember you have to get value out of your character. If you're not getting value, you're losing a fight. And
Mm-hmm.
if you can't win every team fight, it's okay. When you lose the team fight, regroup with your team, think about what's going on. You have that 7-second window to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Explain to your team what happened, and then get back into it. Either switch characters or try a different flank or something like that. Don't just sit
Mm-hmm.
there in the spawn and bitch.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Just that's the other thing when I was talking about the finer details, knowing when you're being countered. Like there's no hard counters in Overwatch, but you can tell when you're being shut down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So understanding that's a finer detail of the game that people really need to understand. And just like you said, if you're a far and you're being shut down by a McCree, you have to switch. You cannot sit there and just die at every team fight. You know, if you're and even on the flip side, let's say you're playing McCree and they have a Pharah and you just can't kill the Pharah and she's shelling the crap out of your team, breaking your Ryan shield, you have to switch. You need to maybe dive, pick up Diva and jump on that Pharah, boop her around a little bit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do something. Do something. You can't just sit there and saying like, "Look, this doesn't work. We need to figure something out." That's I think that goes along with what I was saying with the finer details. It's like you can't just pick 6 characters, pick a 2-2-2, and say, all right, now we're just going to outplay them. You know, nobody's that good. You know, if they're picking something that counters you.
Mm-hmm. And you don't know until the first fight anyway. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
so just always make sure the actions you take arrive at an accomplishment. Don't just have all these actions and then they don't achieve anything. You know,
Mhm.
don't run in there with your McCree and then you get headshot by the Widow.
Yep.
Golly gee, get off McCree or get somebody on your team to shut down the Widow, then you can do your job. That kind of
Mhm.
thing. One tricks. Let's talk about one tricks for a second.
Okay.
This kind of falls into that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of one tricks out there, guy. People, if you guys don't know what
Yeah.
a one trick is, it's a person who plays only one character. And like, even if you click, you see everybody's seen them. You click on your career profile, their career profile, and you see they have one character, and all their hours are on that one character.
Mhm.
One tricks aren't a bad thing, so to speak, but one tricks are like a double-edged sword. They're really good at what they do, but if they're countered, they're useless because they can't play anything
Mhm.
else. If
Mhm.
you're a one trick, please just pick up one other character, just so
Yeah.
you have an idea.
Learn a support character. Like that's all you gotta
If
do.
you're a Hanzo main, why don't you play Zen or something as an off, just in case you can't do it all, you know?
Yeah.
Because every once in a while you're gonna get countered, and that team is definitely gonna blame you because you're the one trick. So,
Yeah. I mean, it, it's very possible that you have an insane widow and she just goes off, you know, hits every headshot. That's great. But when they switch to a Diva or Winston, you're gonna be kind of screwed.
yeah.
So if now that's if they switch. Now obviously if they don't switch, you know, keep running with it. One tricks are really really good at one thing. That's why they're a one trick. And if that one thing is wrecking that team fight, keep up with that one thing. That's good. But the moment you get countered, you have to switch. You have to, or else it's just not going to work. Especially if your team is relying on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's
If
just
you're hard
one tricks
carrying.
are. They piss me off, but at the same time, I'm like, I can build around you and it'll be great, but you have to switch when it comes time because you're inevitably going to need to essentially.
Yep.
But I don't know. Learn at least two characters, people. It's not that hard. Learn a support and learn a DPS. It's not that hard.
Let idiots like Lax pick up the tanks.
Yes. Oh, thanks. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to be the meat shield.
Hmm.
So let's go into kind of the future of Overwatch. End of season 4 and whatnot. It's been a great year. Play Overwatch released that little 4-minute video about the first year, Sombra, and the new maps, Orisa. All these different things have happened. So many people play the game now. It's wonderful. Things are going great. The community is thriving. It's huge. But there's something that the community's been asking for, and Blizzard has hinted at for a long time. And of course, we're going to cover it this week because this is our first podcast about all this. Doomfist.
Oh, man.
Let's talk about Doomfist.
Oh, I want it to happen, man. I can't wait.
We want him, Blizzard. We want him in. We want
Do you
him
think
in the game.
Do you think he's going to be the next character, or do you think there'll be one in between?
I think he might be the next character now that Orisa's been out for a little while. Because she is his hard counter. So
Yeah.
I think he'll be next. But it's just a matter of when, you know?
Hmm. Oh, man. I don't... What's he going to fall? He's going to be a DPS, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he's a melee DPS character.
I'm so glad there's going to be another melee character, because being Reinhardt, the only melee, it's frustrating, man. Let me tell you.
I just... How many heroes do you think we're going to get this year?
This year? Oh,
Like
man.
this coming up, anniversary, and then into next May.
Shoot. Maybe two, maybe a third. I remember, I don't know if it was an AMA or a Reddit thing, but Jeff was answering questions, and they said they had, like, a couple characters in the works.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not completely certain. I would say two, maybe three. I don't think you'd see more than that. Or they'd come out and they'd be really poor. But I definitely think we're going to see Doomfist in the next year. Whether he's the next character or not, I don't know. But we're definitely getting Doomfist. I know that. When it's going to be, what it's going to look like, what he's going to look like, I don't know. But he's coming soon, and I think another character will either be right after him or right before him. Not sure at all what that one will be like. There hasn't been much information on that, but I'd say two or three.
2 or 3. That's pretty fair. They've been pumping out characters every 3 to 4 months, so yeah, 2 to 3 characters a year seems about reasonable. Do you think they'll ever have a cap?
I think there might be like an ideal cap where how many characters they'd like to go to.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. I mean, you don't want to say like this is going to be our finite amount of characters because people always want something new.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of just depends on how long the game's going to last, which I think it'll last a very long time.
I think so too.
Yeah. So I think there'll be a soft cap, something like, I don't know, like 45 maybe.
10 of each group.
Yeah, roughly. But it's ultimately going to depend on what the community wants, I think, because we all like our characters and we've gotten to know our characters very well. And the part of the reason why I feel like Orisa hasn't been the most talked about compared to like Ana and Sombra is because not many people were excited by Orisa.
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of looking at like, Doomfist is next, and then we got these hints for Orisa. We're like, okay, she's going to be the hard counter. That's great. And then she came out, and it wasn't that great. She didn't find a place very easily. I mean, Ana found a place. At first, she was kind of meh, but then people figured out, okay, she's actually insane. And either people haven't broken Orisa yet, which I don't think she can be broken, and I don't know. Like I said, it depends on what the community wants, because what we're really looking forward to right now is Doomfist. Like, I could care less about the next 15 characters after that. I just want to see what Doomfist is like, you know? So I think there's an ideal out there somewhere, but I don't think they're gonna stop making characters for a while. Essentially,
Right. And how many maps do you think we'll get this year? I know that Jeff has already said there's 2 or 3 that are probably going to go into testing soon. So,
Okay.
do you think we'll get any more than that?
I want more maps, man. I'm kind of tired of the ones. Not tired. I just get annoyed at certain ones. But I don't know.
Volskaya Defense.
God, I hate
8
Volskaya so
minute
much.
hold.
Um,
Notorious for it.
right. But I don't know. I think the community wants more maps. The community wants a map editor, I think.
And the community
Um,
does want a map editor. We've actually covered that, remember?
yeah, exactly. That's something that would be great, you know. I mean, it takes time to develop, you know, software like that definitely, but if they can get it out there, like that's going to alleviate a little bit of pressure because people are going to be making their own maps instead
Mm-hmm.
of constantly being like, Blizzard, we want this kind of map. Blizzard, we want this. Blizzard, we want this. You know? So, if we could get a map editor, I think that'll bridge the gap of we want new maps and Blizzard doesn't have time for new maps. You know what I'm saying? So
But the
I
community has all the time in the world.
exactly. So a map editor would be great, plus a few more maps. Give me a 2CP that when I log into, I can actually enjoy. Okay, I don't mind this map. Like I don't like any of the 2CP maps, and it's not even. I mean, 2CP is kind of just a weird game mode in general, but I don't know. Like, I don't get excited by any of the maps that I see in there. I love it when I see King of the Hill, and I love it when I see Hybrid. Like, why can't I feel that way with 2CP? I don't know. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
Blizz.
Not everybody likes every game type,
Yeah.
you know. So I just don't like 2CP because of the time. Like,
Yeah.
if you cap the first point, you might be trying to cap the second point for 7 minutes. So
Yeah. It's frustrating.
it can be very frustrating. I well, do you have anything else to add about like characters, maps, or anything like that?
Not really. I got some. I want to talk about some of the different comps that we've seen,
Okay, sure.
from this season. So, something that we've seen that's relatively new and something that I thought we'd never see was a triple DPS comp. Basically taking a main tank, which is 9 times out of 10 Winston, and then taking like 3 DPS characters that can essentially win a couple duels that'll then come back to a single or come back to 2 support characters.
Mm-hmm.
Most popular that I've seen is what is it? It's Winston as the main tank, Genji Tracer, 2 divers that can get in and out, and then either a Pharah or a soldier. And if they have a Pharah, they'll take a Mercy. If they have a soldier, they'll take either a Zen or an Ana. And then for that second DP or second support spot, they take a Lucio 10 times out of 10. Like you have to have a Lucio
Yeah,
with this
you
kind
have
of
to be
comp.
fast.
Yeah, so it blows my mind because the previous season and even in the lower ranks where sometimes we'll play, you see people like we have to have a Reinhardt, we just have to, he's the best. Like, and then you see these pro players taking 1 tank. It's not like they're taking a Reinhardt and a Winston, or it's not like they're taking like a Winston and a Zarya and they're diving. They're playing. It's different from a dive. You know, in the previous meta, it was you take triple deep or you take triple tank, and if you're good enough, take dive to beat triple tank, right?
Right.
Now we're seeing this awkward triple DPS, which is requires an insane amount of communication and an insane amount of individual skill. I don't know. I think it's one of those comps that I think is underrated and also
Probably the
not.
best comp.
I think so, to be honest with you. It sucks because we're not going to see that kind of play in our ranks, unfortunately, or if we do, it's by complete accident.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I thought that comp was really cool. What do you think?
I love the comp because it's a swarm comp.
Yeah.
You outmaneuver and you outflank. Like how you visualize it is, say the enemy team is on the point, and your 3 DPS kind of like go around and flank them, and like damage comes in from all directions, and the enemy team can't deal with it. And then you have the Lucio running around speed boosting. You have the Ana snipe healing people because she can stay away from the fight and heal. And then you have Winston initiating and using his bubble to protect the 3 DPS. It's very fast. It's very efficient, but it requires three things. Three things: high communication, high skill, high game awareness.
Definitely.
And if you don't have those 3 things, you probably shouldn't play the comp. But in professional, I think dive comp is still better just because of people have mastered that comp. But down
Yeah.
the road, I wouldn't be surprised if the pros are just everybody's using 3 DPS and it's coming down to a bunch of duels.
Yeah. I mean, I think it works, especially if you have good communication. So, I mean, you can output an insane amount of damage. Not in terms of like the sheer numbers that you've seen, but just being able to burst somebody down that quickly, especially if you isolate them. Like a Genji Tracer coming at you, like you can't get away. Like you just can't. Like unless you're a Winston player, you can't get away. Like nobody has that kind of movement to get away from those two.
Mm-hmm.
So those two focusing you down, and then they have a bubble to retreat to with Winston, and then if you run into the Winston, he's gonna keep you at bay because he's got speed boost from Lucio moving him around really quickly. I don't know, man. It's like I said, it's the comp that I want to look for in the next season, and I think it's the comp that you're going to see a lot of pro players use, and you're going to see a lot of high level players use, just because it allows players to be really good at these kind of like specific roles, as well as work together as a team to take out one or two characters really quickly.
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting comp, but it's definitely um, probably the best.
I think so. I mean, in in the best case scenario, you have perfect team communication, you have really good mechanics, you have good game awareness. I think that's the best. In
Okay.
terms of, I would say for most like platinum and below players, maybe stay away from it. Maybe just stick to like a dive comp. I think that would be better. It obviously depends. Like if you just get one of those amazing team groups where everybody's communicating and everybody's at a high level, yeah, you can definitely run it. But I mean, playing Genji is just a hard character in general. Playing a Tracer is just hard. So knowing the characters really well as well. So
Right. Yeah, I it just takes so much to get it to work, whereas the other comps don't take as much and they work. So
hmm
we'll see as the game evolves what happens with triple DPS.
yeah.
Um, so let's keep going with this in a way. Let's talk about dive.
Okay. I love dive.
I know you love dive, and we'll tell you this if you guys watch our stream. Lax starts he opens up, he says, hey guys, how's it going? And he's like, oh, we're doing good, man. What's up? As soon as he sees like a Zen or a Tracer, he immediately goes, all right, we going for dive comp. He just
It's true
he
though.
just he just sits there and he waits, and as soon as one out of the 6 characters for a perfect dive comp is picked, he's like, all right, we going dive.
Fancy a little dive here.
Fancy a dive? You guys want to dive? Do a dive comp? And he's like, I got Winston. I'm like, oh my god. Okay.
Every time.
And
Every time.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But and then some people are like,
Or-
what's dive comp?
Yeah, right. What
So,
were we? It was like we were playing defense something, and
I know what you're talking about. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, and somebody like picked like Tracer Zen, and I was like, oh, we're going dive here. We're going dive, and then I pick Winston, and you're in the background like we are on defense. We are on defense, and I'm just like, hey man, counter dive, let's do it. And then I'm like, wait, they probably don't know how to counter dive. We should think about this for a second. What was it, Volskaya, I think?
Yeah, we were a
Oh
dive
man.
comp on Volskaya. Excuse me. On defense. It was so silly, but it worked.
No, I think we switched it up, didn't we?
Did we? I don't remember.
I think so, because we lost the first point, and then I think we switched it up the second point and just turtled and then won.
Gotcha.
I think so.
I don't remember. I remember that. That was so funny.
Yeah,
But
but yeah, dive comp.
so dive comp: Winston, Tracer, Genji, and then an off tank either Zarya or Diva, followed up
hmm
by anything fast: Lucio, Zen, Tracer.
Yeah, you gotta take those. Yeah.
Fast characters.
I honestly don't even mind a Pharah because she has great mobility. Now,
Most
generally,
characters.
yeah, generally you're gonna want a Mercy with her, which can kind of hurt your dive comp a little bit because you lose that value out of like a Zen orb.
Hmm.
But if you're gonna do that, you kind of have to bank on the Pharah playing really well. But yeah, dive comp, two flankers, a Winston, and either Zarya or Diva, two supports. You gotta take a Lucio.
For sure.
Gotta take the Lucio.
No question about it.
Definitely love me some good old dive comp. What were we on? We were on King of the Hill, Lijiang Tower, and we won the first point, or we won the first round. And we're like, okay, we're doing good. We were running like a pseudo dive comp essentially. I think we had a soldier, but like it worked out to be essentially a dive comp.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to a bastion just to shred, because I was on Winston. They went to a bastion to shred my shield and shred me. And the first team fight we lost just because we weren't expecting the bastion, and they just started shredding everything. And we regrouped. Nobody was toxic, but everybody was kind of annoying. Like, oh, they have a bastion. Like, what do we do? And then we go into the second team fight. We lose again, a couple of misplays, and you were on Farah. And then I'm like, I was annoyed. I was like, okay, look, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna split the bastion off from everybody else. We're gonna let the Farah take the bastion. Everybody else kill everything else. And you want to know what happened?
What
You
happened?
want to know what happened? We did it. We made a game plan and we stuck to it. How hard is that? This is the beauty of dive comp. This is why I love it so much. You can make a game plan and you can stick to it and it will work. So long as everybody is communicating, it will work. We split everybody off. I think it was a Mercy that was pocketing her. I split her away with my bubble. She had to go away or else she was going to run into me. The Bastion looked at me, started shredding through me, and then you pelted him, and it was great. And then we steamrolled him the rest of the game, and we won. It was great. But no, people got to take, we got to take a Roadhog because he's a tank and we need a tank. No. Don't get me started. Make a game plan and stick to it. It's not that hard.
It's not hard. It's not. And
I
have
have to
fun.
change the game plan. That's fine. Yeah, have fun. If your game plan is have fun, I might be a little annoyed, but that's better than nothing. My 2 cents on the
Yeah,
matter.
for sure. And outside of that, God, triple tank is not really seen much anymore.
Not
Um,
really.
It's picked up from
Um,
time to time.
Every now and then you see it. A 2 CP defense, I don't really mind it that much.
There are still a lot of
Um,
gold players that think it's good.
It works. I mean, I've seen pro teams pick it up, but it's mainly because what they're working is just not what they were doing previously is just not working. But from what I've seen, people revert to a triple tank because they are getting outclassed.
Mhm.
Not in terms of teamwork, not in terms of communication. Like that's all fine, but in terms of just sheer mechanics. So they think, okay, let's ball up, everybody play in this death ball, and let's just really bank on this Roadhog hitting a good hook. And that was, in the previous meta, the essential play. That's what you did. That's what you did. You set up your Roadhog, he hit a hook, and then you went in. Now you see triple tank in cases where you might be getting outclassed, so we're gonna ball up and just try to bank on a Roadhog, which at the higher levels can definitely work, but at the lower levels, I think it's just honestly terrible. Like I don't trust that many Roadhogs to do it that well, to be honest.
Mhm.
Because a
Yeah.
triple tank only really works if you have a great Roadhog.
Yeah, you have to get that initial pick, otherwise you're just a sitting ultimate sponge.
Yep,
So,
pretty much.
yeah, the comps for this season were very good, and we're looking forward to season 5 and what it brings. I have 2 more questions, and we're 20 minutes out from the hour mark. What do
Yeah,
you?
save me some time because I have 2 topics that I really want to talk about.
Okay, we'll do yours then. Go ahead.
Cool. I want to get into a little bit of some pro play that we've seen. One
Okay.
speculative and some a little bit of a review. I don't know if you saw it, but it was a Korean match. It was BK Stars versus somebody else, and the cool thing about this one was BK Stars played a 2 CP, point B, defense, single healer with a Sombra.
Go on.
Now, why is this interesting, you might ask? Well, I'm going to backtrack us a little bit.
Go back in time.
Kaplan, I think it was Kaplan,
Mhm.
some Blizz guy said that the way that they structured their tank roles and their support roles, they're not, support does not mean strictly healing. Yes, most of the support characters minus Symmetra all heal, but that's not essentially what support means. If you're banking on Lucio as a healer, he's not a healer. He helps you initiate. So there are many different ways somebody can be a support character. So a Blizz dev said something along the lines that Sombra could be considered a support character because she essentially takes away parts of the enemy team. Just much like a healer would heal through somebody's damage, or Symmetra helps burn people quicker and keeps them at bay. Sombra kind of does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what really shocked me was that they were on a single healer, but their single healer was Lucio.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely, when you see single healer, you think of Lucio. You think of either Mercy or Ana, because they just have that raw healing potential. And then Mercy can res, and Ana can sleep and counter or anti-heal and whatnot. So I think that the Sombra, the Sombra pick, I think that made one of the biggest differences in that match. And they were also really focused. So I think what we've seen now at 2CP, because everybody was complaining about it, right? And you had mentioned it earlier. It's just hard with the time and all this kind of stuff. From watching this game and watching the review, I think there might be a new way of playing 2CP defense.
Okay. Elaborate on it. What do you mean?
I
How
will
was the
definitely
Sombra
now.
used?
Well, so the Sombra, well, the main utility in Sombra that is so good is her ability to charge her ult really quickly. And that comes down to hacking health packs. When you hack a health pack, you don't get any ult charge, but when somebody uses a hack health pack on your team, it gives you a lot. It can give you, I've seen up to like 10-15%.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that combined with her gun that just doesn't do an insane amount of damage, but you're constantly hitting your target because it's a pretty big spray. You can charge up your ult really fast. And with the new changes with her cooldowns on her abilities, she's not a dive character, she's not a flanker. I'm gonna build my ult charge really quickly and try to take one guy out of this game. So whether you're hacking a Reinhardt so his shield is down, or whether you're hacking an Ana so she can't anti or sleep, whatever, letting your team know what you're hacking so they can focus it is brilliant. Now, if you're sitting there and if you pair your Sombra with a Reinhardt and a Zarya, and you're trying to run that one Lucio, it's not gonna work. Why is it not gonna work? Because you don't have that raw potential to isolate somebody. She kind of falls into like a split comp or like a pseudo dive comp, because she can hack somebody and then you can initiate on that person and try to take them completely out of the game. Also, if you know that somebody's going to have, if you know somebody has ult, she can just keep them hacked for a majority of the game. So, I think, especially if you know somebody is going to just go to town on you, whether it's a Widow or like a soldier that's really good, having somebody that's just going to go to town on you, keeping them at bay with the Sombra pick, is a really good style of play. Now, how does the rest of your team have to play? This is the really interesting part. Because they're running, you have to take Lucio, right? So because they're running Lucio on single support, you can't stand there and fight. Now, seems really counterintuitive because you're thinking, this is 2CP, we have to fight, you have to brawl, you have to try to hold that point. But the way that it was BK Stars that were playing this defense, the way they played it was they only really kept one person on the point at a time, because you only need one person on that point to actually keep them from gaining any percentage, right? So what they would do was, now this is perfect team communication, by the way, so I don't recommend this to our level, but this is perfect team communication, where one person is on at a time. The Lucio might be skating around it, and then if he's getting focused, the Winston will jump in. The Lucio backs off, tries to get people healed up, tries to bring people back in, tries to help target somebody. And then when that Winston's going down, he drops down to that little spot. It was Anubis, to that little spot beneath that bridge, gets the hacked health pack. That Sombra's getting charged. She's out there trying to shut somebody down that might have an ult. Next thing you know, they come in like they group up and they're about to initiate. Sombra gets her ult off first, because if she's not getting her ult off first, you shouldn't be playing her. So she gets her ult off first. They no longer have ultimates. You use your ultimates on them. You only like one or two, because you only need one or two to really win a team fight. You force them back out.
Right.
It was such perfect team communication. It was insane Sombra play. And here's the thing: Sombra is not a pick-off character. She's not going to go behind enemy lines, hack somebody, and kill somebody. That's not what she does. You know, that's why I think it's accurate to say she's more of a support character rather than a DPS. Right? Her gun's good. Don't get me wrong, and yeah, she can finish off people, and it's really good to know because she has that passive ability that'll let you know who is like at half health or something. That's really good too.
Hmm.
But um, I don't know. It was so counterintuitive to this idea of okay, we're gonna be in a ball on this point trying to counter initiate, or we're waiting on them, right? Instead, it said no, 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 no. We're gonna keep one person on the point so that they can't get any percentage, and we're gonna set up our team so that if they try to move in on us, we're gonna take somebody out. We're gonna keep them at bay with the Sombra. We're gonna have Lucio ferrying people around. We're gonna have Winston hold down the point and then dive in and dive out. Because 5 seconds he can jump in and jump out, you know.
Right.
So he jumps out, gets that health pack, jumps back in. I thought it was brilliant. It worked out. They won the map, and they were essentially considered the underrated team. They were not supposed to win that game, that match. I think they lost the overall, like series or whatever you call it, but they won that map. And I don't know. I think it brings a new way. I know I kind of rambled, but I think it brings a new way of thinking about 2CP defense because I know everybody hates 2CP defense, like you know I do.
Hmm.
Like, what do you think? That kind of antithetical to the whole we're going to stand on the point and just defend it as much as we can.
It seems to me like what you're explaining is like ambush tactics in a way.
Yeah, essentially.
So they were just waiting for the enemy team to come in, and then they ambush them, get in, get out,
Yeah.
cripple them and let them retreat. Um,
Yeah.
I think that that might just be the future. Um,
You think
people
so?
people that play at the pro level, they're on a different level than anybody else is. Um,
Mind you, this is Korea, and
I
they're
know,
known for trying new things.
yeah, and they're even on another level. They're even higher.
Yeah.
So down the road, we'll start seeing more stuff like that, like little unorthodox methods of team comp and play styles and things like that. Like we haven't really fully unlocked the ability and power of Sombra because Blizzard has said
Yeah.
multiple times, you guys don't understand how to use Sombra yet. Give her some
Yeah.
time. And I think this match you're talking about was probably the first time she was used the way Blizzard intended her to be used.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so.
and so now that we've seen that, more and more things will change over time. And then I think, next up, Orisa might be used differently over
Yeah.
time. So, no, I think it's a good point. I think it's a good thing to look at. But for the mass majority of Overwatch players, they're not going to play Sombra like this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the problem because I love Sombra. I think she's great. Um Obviously she's a niche pick, you know.
Right.
You can pick a Winston in different kinds of comps. You can pick a Reinhardt different kinds of comps. You can pick obviously you pick Lucio in an insane amount of comps. She's such a niche pick that it's really hard for people to figure out where she really belongs, I think.
Mm-hmm. So,
So, yeah, and then piggybacking off of that, that was a Korean game, and that's where we see a lot of new things, and we see really high level play. World Championships are coming up. Can anyone compete with Korea?
this year, no.
No.
I know the new system where we pick the people that are going to pick the team, and what is it? We had Stir. Who was it for America?
I'm not sure.
Stir.
I wasn't really
Okay.
looking at America's.
Oh, I can look. It was Stir. I know Stir got it,
hmm
and then there was somebody else. But anyway, I'll think of it later. Um, I think they're going to be able to pick a good team full of pro players and
hmm
top 500 players. So I think America has a better chance this time around.
hmm
But South Korea plays on such a different level than anybody
hmm
else does. See, there's the pros, and then there's the pros that play in South Korea. Now, mind you, Rogue, the professional team Rogue, has done a hell of a job at the Apex tournaments.
Yeah.
Really taking the fight to South Korea, but the region as a whole, I think their best six is the best in the world. I don't.
Yeah.
I think it might come down to. It depends on how we do in the group stages and whatnot. But I don't think that America is going to be able to pull it off.
Hmm.
Russia, as we saw, Russia just got when Russia went up against
Yeah.
South Korea. Russia just got stomped, and nothing against the Russians. They played a very good game. Shadowburn isn't one hell of a Genji, but when you shut down Shadowburn,
Yeah.
the rest of them just couldn't compete. So
I,
I
yeah.
I think this is what I want to talk about with the World Cup and stuff. South Korea is probably going to take it again, and there's nothing we
I
can
think
do.
so. Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. But I mean, it'll be good to watch
It's
anyways.
always good to watch. But other than that, that's what I kind of wanted to mention. But did you know that South Korea wasn't even placed very high in the SR rankings? Like they were like number two.
Oh, really?
China was number one,
Oh, that's interesting.
and we were like three or four. So
Yeah.
that doesn't mean the Chinese are the best. It just means they have the higher skill rating.
I mean, they have a lot of people.
They have a lot of people playing more
Yeah.
than anybody else.
Pretty much everybody plays.
So,
My two old roommate. Well, one of my roommates played. We tried to get my other roommate too, but he never did.
gotcha. So with that, was that all your topics for today?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Well, I had like a future speculation, but we already kind of talked about that. So
Gotcha. So I have one final question or topic to discuss here, and we
awesome.
should be able to break it down in 9 minutes. Um, just 2 days ago, at the launch of this video, um, Destiny 2 was announced to be hosted on Battle.net.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't more or less Blizzard. This is more Activision using Blizzard,
Yeah.
her services. But this is an FPS game
Hmm.
that will be on the Battle.net launcher alongside Overwatch sometime in the future. I know it's not going to come right out to PC right away, but do you think this will pull people away from Overwatch?
No, no, not away from Overwatch. Um, I mean, they're two different games.
All right, one's an
You don't.
MMO, one's just a pure FPS.
Yeah. So I don't think you'll see pull away. I think you might see a slight dip in the amount of time people are putting into Overwatch, especially initially at the Destiny launch.
Mm-hmm.
I think it all depends on how well Destiny is. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll play it, but I don't think it's going to be like an Overwatch killer or anything like that. You might see a slight dip. I think people will want to play, especially if Blizzard's going to vouch for it. I think you're going to see people play it. Um, but I don't think it's going to like bring people away from Overwatch. It'll mainly just be like, oh, sweet, another game to play. Maybe I won't play as much Overwatch.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Maybe it'll just be people play on
Though,
the side.
yeah, though Destiny is a very grindy game, so I don't know. Now that I think about it, I don't know. You never know. We'll see.
It'll it'll be something else, that's for sure.
Yeah, I didn't play the first one, so did you play Destiny 1?
No.
No. So, yeah, I don't really know. I might try it. I mean, your boy broke, so I don't know if he can afford it, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm not opposed to it. Isn't the console version coming out first though?
It is, yes.
Yeah, so I think we'll see how well it's received on console first, and then we'll be able to tell whether or not it's worth it to get it and take away our precious time from our lovely Overwatch days. So
Uh, yeah. So I think that'll about do it for us then for this first Overwatch Overtime podcast. We're gonna do these every Friday, just kind of break down over the week. And since this was the first one, it ran kind of long because we are, this is the first one we're talking about everything that has kind of happened this season. So thank you guys so much for watching. You'll see more of this content in the future. Be sure to follow all our social media links down at the bottom. You can catch us live on Twitch probably later tonight. Other than that, Lax, do you have any closing statements, closing words?
Nope. I'm excited for the next season. I'm excited for all the different things we're gonna see. I'm excited for the World Cup. I'm ready to maybe maybe play something other than Reinhardt for a change, but we'll see. I'm not salty about it or anything. So yeah, that's about it.
All right, to everybody watching, thank you so much. Good luck in your competitive matches over the weekend, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.